In today's video, today we are going to do a DIY project. I call this my Shiplap shelf. I did not come up with this. I got the idea from someone called Simply Aligned Home. I will put a link in the description to her blog post so you can see how she did it, but I basically built it the exact same way that she did. She had hers just on an end wall where she had some blank space. For mine, I'm going to put it at the end of the cabinet that houses our microwave and oven. It was just a nice blank wall. I knew I wanted to do something on here, and I had seen something kind of similar to this. But once I saw Simply Aligned Home's demonstration of doing this, I fell in love and knew that I needed to do it. I won't give you exact measurements because I'm sure that your space would be different than mine. But I do want to tell you the materials that we used and the tutorial on how to do this. So the first thing that we did was used these 1x3 pine boards to frame out the sides because you're going to need something to put your shelf and racks to attach them to. If you have not worked with wood, 1x3 actually means 2.5. I don't know who came up with that, but so these are 2.5 inches deep, and we're going to nail these into the wall on one side, and then on the other side, we angled them and nailed it directly into the cabinet. So we are using a nail gun for this project. It comes in very handy. My husband did cut most of the boards for me. It is nice to have a husband that knows what he's doing. And you can ask your local Home Depot, Lowe's, or Menards to cut things according to your dimensions. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. It just depends on the area you live in. So I get really excited when we do these projects, which is why I'm doing a crazy dance. But things like this just get me excited and motivated. So we only framed out two sides because on the top, we're going to build that cabinet up to the ceiling. So we didn't need to do anything there. And then for the bottom, we're actually going to put a shelf there. So just frame out the two sides. Then what we did was laid out our shiplap. These are actual shiplap boards from the store. They overlap together, but we laid them out and figured out that there was one on the end that we did need to cut down a little bit. So you'll just have to measure your space. You may be lucky and don't need to cut them at all, but you can just nail these into there. What you're supposed to do is nail on the little lip, and then when the next piece of shiplap goes on, it covers up those nail holes. With nail guns, you can use different size of nails in there. So my husband was just going over to the other side of the cabinet to make sure that the nails weren't poking through. So you can change the size of your nails accordingly throughout your project, because some places might be deeper and you might need longer nails. So here's a close-up of what it looks like right now. You can see those little nails right there to the left. They're on that lip. The top piece up there is just sitting up there so that we know not to go past a certain point. It's not actually in place. He was pressing pretty hard to make sure that this was really close to that sideboard, because the spacing just fit perfectly and we didn't want to run into a situation where the last board wouldn't fit. I am going to take the time to do a little bit of caulking in a few places, like where that sideboard meets the wall and meets the shiplap. I am also covering up any nail holes. This stuff dries really fast, but the covering up the nail holes and caulking really makes this look like a built-in custom piece. This is my favorite part, painting. I chose a really pretty, it's kind of a green gray with a hint of blue in it. It's a really beautiful color. It's called Illusive Green by Sherwin. I just got this quart size in the emerald, and I did get a satin color so that it had just a teeny bit of shine to it, but not too much. I love the emerald line from Sherwin. It's my favorite. It just goes on so smoothly. So in between the shiplap pieces, I took a really small painter's brush that you see here. I just got that one at Hobby Lobby. I've had it for a while now. And I just took a little bit and went through. I only did one coat in those in-between sections, but if you don't paint in between there, you can see the white shining through, so you do want to make sure to take the time and do that. On a smaller project like this, I will just use a paintbrush, but you could also use a roller. Both of them give a nice finish. You could actually add an additive to your paint so that you see less of the paint strokes. So this did take 3 coats just because it's a darker color. I didn't prime anything first, but it is well worth it in the end. This was super quick. I also painted the outside trim pieces. You can see that I'm doing that there as well. This was a fairly easy project compared to some of the other projects that we tackle in our house, and I am very thankful that my husband is able to help with some of the woodworking, but I really believe that you can do this by yourself. It was a really simple project. So here it is after one coat. You can see the blue tape. I did tape off where the wall was and the end of the cabinet over here, just so that it didn't get on either one of those. You can choose whatever color of stain you want for these next pieces. I use the color Hazelwood, and I will link it in the description box below. I did about 2 or 3 coats on these. I wanted a very light wood finish that kind of matched my floor, but honestly, I'm not in love with the color. I would have liked just a tad darker, but they look fine for now. No complaints from me. So here's what your shelf will look like. There is the bottom piece of wood. My husband cut out a little notch on each of the sides so that it would fit in there. This is a 1x3 I'm showing you. It's actually 2.5 inches, but it is a 1x3. That's what it's called. And then the top 2 pieces are lattice pieces. So these, we just use a nail gun. We nailed them in. You can see the little holes right there. We nailed them in from the front. I also used liquid nails to glue them on to the trim piece as well, just so they're extra secure. Now, the bottom piece is a shelf. The other 2 pieces are more for looks, and they kind of help hold your items in place a little bit. I'm going to take a few minutes and style these. This cutting board was from World Market. The top ones, I got 2 of those from Hobby Lobby, 1 of those from Kirkland's. The Magnolia table book, which I haven't made any recipes out of yet. I probably need to do that. The white dish up there was from the store at home, and the gold tray down there is from Target. I will link what I can in the description below and also the supplies we used. I love how this turned out. It took an ordinary plain white side of a cabinet and turned it into something so beautiful. I love this. It is on the side of our kitchen. I'll show you right here what it looks like when you're looking at the kitchen. You can see this on the side, and then to the left of that is the hallway that leads to the mudroom and also the coffee bar. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you back here soon.